woman from California just nuked the internet after she had a full-body orgasm in front of hundreds of people at a live orchestra. It all happened when the Tchaikovsky musicians went silent for a few moments. Everyone then turned their heads wondering if someone was hurt, but here's what it sounds like. What do you think?
No trap laws.
Menace and Venice, turn your bitch up into a lost cause.
Beauty and the beast for the clip, be cautious, caution. Murder the pussy, said he flossing.
Oh shit, I leave them corpses. I'm metamorphosis, I'm fancy. Lock your head in the window of Porsche.
Call isn't in the course, they got an abortion. Slide in the pussy with Ritalin and aborted.
I'm laughing, I lead the masses, straight gasping. Caskets, preaching a murder, so light your matches.
Nasty tone with a nasty palm. Pretty kitty, dirty vagabond.
Tragic, sacrifice insanity for bastards.
Belittle vanity, what sanity will be casted. Half, but I leave him
half alive in a basket. And anything that is savage, succumb to the madness.
Nigga, what you really know about me?
About me.
Want your bitch like clothes, no closet. Why you worry about the money at deposit? I'm in the mouth like water, no faucet. Nigga, what you really know about me?
Goddamn.
Want your bitch like clothes, no closet. Why you worry about the money at deposit? I'm in the mouth like water, no faucet. Nigga, what you really know about me? Want your bitch like clothes, no closet. Why you worry about the money at deposit? I'm in the mouth like water, no faucet. Nigga, what you really know about me? Want your bitch like clothes, no closet. Why you worry about the money at deposit? I'm in the mouth like water, no faucet.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.
Welcome to my nightmare.
We're not safe awake or asleep.
Why won't you die? Freddy versus Jason.
Place your bets.
Live from the last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network studios, It's Nothing Worthwhile presents Van Dammit, a podcast about Jean-Claude Van Damme. Here's Evan Moody and Andrew Gruthius.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning.
Groo, have you ever had a full body orgasm?
Probably. I hope so.
I've had a partial body orgasm, and it's pretty damn good. But I don't know if you've ever had.
What is that even like? A full body orgasm. Does that mean that I can even feel it in my toes? Because if that's true, then yes, I have that.
I'm actually going to go listen to classical music right after this.
Classical music?
Well, that was the clip.
Oh, yeah, the Tchaikovsky. It sounded to me like that was completely planned.
You think that's a goof?
Well, the music literally stopped before, right at the point that she was...
I don't know. I saw that on some website, and I said, I gotta get that on tape.
Oh, it was great. But the interesting thing was when you told me about it, the coverage of it was treating it as though it was a goof.
Really?
Like, yeah, they were saying like either it's the wildest coincidence in the world that the music actually pauses, and then it's like. You know, because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the music stops, she lets go, and then that's it. So it's like, it was just a really strange. That's the way that, because I was looking for different versions of the clip, because a lot of the videos were like, people like, oh, so, okay, so here this happens and here that happens. So it's like there was nothing that was clean, like straight through. I just want to hear the music and and then the climax. So I had to settle for whatever I think it was a TikTok video. Yeah. But
I mean, I've been to many live concerts and have really had emotional reactions to music, but never quite like that.
Yeah, that was a new one.
Well, welcome everyone. Nothing Worthwhile, episode number 106. We're doing it Van Dammit style. It's 2003, Freddy vs. Jason. We also played in XX Temptation and Ski Mask, The Slump God with Freddy vs. Jason. I don't know. It's a hip hop song, god awful. But Groo, I think we've talked about it briefly. Where do you stand on hip hop music? You're a classic rock guy for the most part.
I will answer your question with a question.
Oh boy.
What?
Have you ever had a full body orgasm? Oh wait.
What, if anything, is the difference between hip hop and rap?
Isn't rap covered under the hip hop umbrella? I'm being serious.
Is it that way or is it the other way around?
I think hip hop covers all sorts of like urban music. Rap would be one of them, I think.
Okay, so there are certain kinds of hip hop that I like. Like rap, like old school rap, like Run DMC type rap.
Okay.
Even Sugar Hill Gang, love the Beastie Boys. Rap like that was kind of bordering on rock rap. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Even Run DMC Raising Hell, that album, it had a lot of elements of rock and roll to a hip hop style.
So your fandom basically ended in 87?
Well, no, because there are certain kinds of. But as far as like
anything, would you hear anything on the radio that moves you hip hopish?
Not that I couldn't name you anything like off the top of my head that I love this particular song that would be under the hip hop banner. You'd have to name some songs, and because I'm just not that familiar with that kind of music. That's the thing.
Always the question that follows: what do you think of hip hop and other forms of music now being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
That's as it should be. Music. I'm all for the Music Hall of Fame. I don't think it needs to be limited to rock and roll, and it's clearly not. I think they could change the name of it. It should be the Music Hall of Fame. So I have no problem with you telling me that you're not going to put Eminem in the same Hall of Fame as Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen. No, that they belong in the same lexicon or whatever. So yeah, I'm good with it.
Agreed.
And that's an Eminem. I even though I couldn't name you 3 Eminem songs, I could probably name 1 or 2. That's a type of talent that I recognize and that I like hearing when I hear it. Not enough to buy it, but I could hear that and say this is good stuff.
All right, so Andrew Gruthius, hip hop, Run DMC, and Eminem.
No, I said.
Oh no! Listen, I'm the same way. I mean, I definitely listen to. I have stuff on my Apple Music.
There's a great Kid Cudi song.
Okay, but like I listen to, if I'm on Sirius XM, I listen to the classic hip hop. Like the LL Cool J channel is classic hip hop.
LL Cool J. Okay, that's one that I would like. But if you're trying to ask me if I ever put on that station, the answer is no. It's not in my thing. What's in my thing are the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s is there. Then you got E Street Radio. You got the 2 Howard things. You got the Busted Open channel and a couple other wild cards. But Hip Hop Nation is. I think Ozzy's Boneyard is on there, but Hip Hop Nation is not on my my settings for Sirius.
I cautioned Andrew. I said we got a lot to cover today. Let's get to. He's like, you okay, Moody?
Asked the question. You asked the question.
Always down a rabbit hole, and then we're hearing his Sirius XM favorites. But all right, well, great. Evan Moody, Andrew Gruthius live face to face in the Casa de la Gruthius from Coconut Creek, Florida. On today's show, we are crossing over. They're 2 of the greatest horror icons of all time, finally facing off. It's a Moody request, Freddy versus Jason. We will indeed span the universe for the latest news on our favorite 80s action stars. and we'll let you know one thing we are watching this week. Let's bring him in, our resident horrorologist, Andrew Gruthius. Andrew, how are you, my friend?
Good afternoon. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
In the Nothing Worthwhile Studio B.
Yeah, it's like Sirius XM. We have satellite.
We have Studio A in Arizona.
Yes,
affiliated with New U Life Center.
That's right.
And this would be Studio B. So,
did you pay the rent on the Arizona studio?
I'm going to be a little late this month. It's been
tough?
We spent some money at Mania.
Yeah,
we've been around the globe. This year, so but that'll be coming soon. But it's great. It's always great to see you in person and hang out and have fun. And
absolutely.
And we've certainly been doing that and are continuing to do so. So this is great.
All right, Groo. Before we get into the cage for Freddy vs. Jason, let's check out the latest news on our favorite '80s action stars. It's time for Van Dammit spanning the universe.
Van Dammit, spanning the universe.
Hey now, Spanning the Universe is brought to you by New Life Center. Begin a new you. Check out all of their wonderful laser treatments at www.newlifecenters.com or give them a call at 602-274-0068. Tell them Moody and Groo sent you and receive a big 15% off your first service. New Life Center, restore your youthfulness with confidence. Let's start that new you. Get that free consultation, customized services, feel good in a stress-free environment. That's New Life Center.
And let me just say that at this point now, this is not a bullshit advertisement.
No, it's a real place.
I now can say that I'm not only
a client.
I'm now a patient. We're not only as an advertiser, whatever. But no, I've been, I've seen, I've done, I've felt, whatever. It's great. Go.
Get there.
New you.
All right. Groo. Let's hit up with our guy Jean-Claude. As with most of the Van Dammit guys, there's usually not a lot of news going on, as most of these guys are in the twilight of their careers. However, Jean-Claude did relate one story to FandomWire.com. Would he be a star? He had to overcome the doubts of at least one producer. That was Menahem Golan, co-owner of Cannon Films. Mm-hmm. Van Damme had to fight tooth and nail to prove he was worthy of being an actor and action star, and it wasn't an easy road. After Van Damme begged for the part, Menahem Golan finally agreed to pay him $25,000 for his role in Bloodsport, despite initially having little faith in the actor. And in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment, Jean-Claude talked about his struggles on the road to stardom. Quote, "I was living on the streets, sleeping in cars and garages. Sometimes I stole food. I didn't have any good money. I took $3,000 and I came to America. I was starving for movies." During this trying period, Jean-Claude met Menahem Golan, the producer who would launch his career. Golan was leaving a restaurant when Van Damme spotted him and decided to show off his karate skills with a kick to the head. Golan was so taken with Van Damme that he gave him his card, setting up a meeting that would alter the course of Van Damme's career within weeks. Quoting Jean-Claude, Menahem Golan came out of a restaurant where I was going in, so I kicked above his head. He was with two Asian buyers, and he heard them. When he heard them being impressed, not himself, he gave me his card, and I met with him weeks later. According to the article, Menahem Golan was initially skeptical of Van Damme's ability to carry a movie. His first impression of the actor wasn't necessarily the best. Golan did warn Van Damme that he, quote, never be a star. Quoting Jean-Claude, he said, "My friend Michael Dudikoff, he's a star. Chuck Norris, he's a star. You'll never be a star." As I said earlier, Golan eventually agreed to pay Van Damme $25,000, which was a fraction of what other actors were making. Van Damme gave it all in his performance as Frank Dukes, a martial artist who competed in the Kumite tournament. We know that this film now and the role was truly pivotal in establishing Van Damme as a leading man in the action genre. Jean-Claude Groo is set to star in what is reported to be his last action movie titled What's My Name? Groo, any thoughts on Jean-Claude, Menahem Golan, and perhaps the one that started it all, Bloodsport?
Well, I mean, that's not the No Retreat, No Surrender came before that.
Understood, but I mean, he had a bit,
Yeah, but all right,
role.
but this was his first starring role. Menahem Golan, he was one of the Go-Go Boys. He was one of the Cannon guys, Golan Globus.
Yes.
So they were famous for churning out like 30 movies a year, hoping that one or two of them would make a profit.
B-level movies?
Yeah.
B-level action
They did all the like Chuck Norris Missing in Action movies. Those Over the Top was like their biggest, I think their most budgeted movie.
So that was that their, like, would you say their best quality movie?
Well, if you're asking me, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan of.
Did they
Over
produce
the Top.
like a Shakespeare in Love, or try to do something that was
They
ever
tried,
considered
I think,
on an Oscar level? I don't know.
They did Iron Eagle, which I think is somewhat respected.
It's respected, but it's not.
But it's certainly not like. But anyway, my response to that is, listen, you're a guy who wants to be a movie star. You know you've got the goods. All right. A director or a producer in Hollywood says to you, all right, listen, I'll let you star in this movie. I'm not paying you a dime. Are you going to do it?
Yes.
Of course you're going to do it. So it's kismet. I mean, that's a great story. That's like, 25,000 is probably not even scale back then even. I mean, that's pennies that's tip money to these people. It's nothing. So,
I'll take it.
Well, obviously, but to those guys.
What struck me is, though, I think Jean-Claude does his homework because I guess he has to know, excuse me, that's Coke Zero.
Nice.
He has to know where Golan is going to this meeting, this restaurant. Like when I listened back to what you were saying, I was thinking of the Family Guy episode where Brian Griffin he's serving. And he's also working at a car wash that has Hollywood. And he's like,
"This is Jack Nicholson. I read your script.
Yeah, your car's been Brianized. Jean-Claude had to do his homework to know, hey, these heavy players are eating here, and I got 15 seconds. A guy's walking to his limo to impress him to make some kind of impact.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something. These people, the information that is accessible. If you like, a lot of people do it just to go celebrity sighting, okay, to know where people are.
But it's different now. Now you have social media, you have cell phones. Back then, I'm thinking.
I'm telling you what they had.
Okay, go ahead.
Because social media wasn't really a thing when I was doing this stuff.
Okay.
I mean, even in like 2003, when I saw what people used. There are run sheets and call sheets and all kinds of documents on any movie set or in anywhere where it's literally like there's probably something somewhere that said
like
Menahem Golan. Yeah, like it says 12:30. John drives Menahem Golan to the Ivy for lunch with whatever. Like everything is mapped out so nothing gets fucked up. And there are people who literally. There's actually a documentary, and you love documentaries.
I do.
So you should watch it. I think it's called Radio Man, and it's about a guy who they call him Radio Man. His name is Kevin. He's kind of a homeless guy. All he does is follow celebrities all around New York City, and that's all he does. I've met him. I've seen him there, and he rides with this radio, this radio. That's why they call him Radio Man. And he rides a bicycle, and he has the sheets. He has, Jim Carrey's being driven from here to the Carlisle at 7:30, whatever. And there's a documentary about this guy. It's probably like 10 years old at this point.
Would a Jean-Claude do like a Mitch Moody though? And at the Carlisle, you get a contact, you pay him a little bit to get that phone call that says, "Listen, I know Golan, or I know this producer is going to be here for a 12:30 lunch." Is that something
absolutely
that would happen?
Absolutely. Those are the stories that that are told on Tonight Show couches. I mean those are the stories that the stars come from.
And what was the name of that documentary?
Radio Man. I think it's called Radio Man.
All right, Van Dammit fans, check out Radio Man. Groo, Sylvester Stallone has had a truly remarkable career. How does he feel about his latest installment of the Rambo franchise? Courtesy again of FandomWire.com. In one of his latest Instagram videos, Sly said that he regretted doing the last Rambo movie for the physical cost. Quote, "It's been a long time since I've been in the gym because I've been out there doing Rambo, which caused a lot of damage. So now I've got to fix things," the actor said. The video revealed that Sylvester Stallone was forced to rest after doing Rambo Last Blood due to too much physical effort that he had to put into the film and only hitting the gym after the relaxation period is over. Quote, "Who wouldn't rather be in bed just relaxing a little bit? But listen, life is like a movie. If you're going to play the lead, you got to get out there and go after it. See you soon. Keep pumping." Listen, pumping can be fun, Sly. Groo, Rambo 5, it performed decently at the box office. It grossed over $91 million against a $50 million budget. That doesn't sound so bad to me. And to be fair, the movie was generally not well received. Since then, Groo, we've talked about it. Stallone's appeared in the superhero flick Samaritan in 2022. He's also appeared in Paramount's original Tulsa King, Good Stuff, in 2022. We know that he's playing Stakar Ogard in Marvel Studios' Phase 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I believe that's gotten mixed results from critics. Sly will go on to reprise his role. Groo's already talked about it. Barney Ross, The Expendables 4. Similar to JCV, Groo, any thoughts on Stallone's musings on Last Blood?
Well, not really, but I want to ask you a question about Last Blood.
Go ahead. I love when you ask me. It's usually the other way around. Go ahead. No.
Now,
I know what he's going to... Can I guess what you're going to say?
Yes, try.
All right, knowing what I know about Andy, are you going to kind of sell me that over time it's really not a bad movie, or there's some quality there?
Not exactly. Okay, but close. All right.
He's going to go with.
I want to ask you this:
the Phil colonization of.
Do you agree with the statement that I'm about to make?
Go ahead.
Okay. Rambo 5 is a bad Rambo movie, but it's a good movie. I enjoy it. I like it, but I'm not watching Rambo. I'm watching Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
That's the difference between that Rambo and all the other ones. When I'm watching all the other ones, it's Rambo. In this one, it's not. It's Stallone. Maybe it's the hair. Maybe it's just, I don't know. But the movie is exciting. It's fun. It's wild. I mean, so like that. So, yeah. So do you agree or disagree with that statement?
I'll disagree because, see, Andy's able to do that. I say a bad Rambo movie's a bad movie.
Okay.
I thought it was plot, a lot of plot holes. I thought it was excessively brutal, especially given the storyline. And I didn't hate every second of it. Listen, it's an action movie. You're always going to sell me in Rambo. I like, obviously some of the, the action, the bloody scenes, all that stuff like that. But it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember shutting off my streaming service feeling, and I saw the extended version, which was probably the better of the two, I'm assuming.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can't. If it's a bad Rambo movie, Andy could do that, and I won't criticize him. I've done it before. I won't criticize him, but no.
Okay, that's that. Yeah. That's just the way I felt after watching it again. I felt like I was watching a cool action movie that really could have starred anybody. It just happened to be starring probably the biggest action star who ever lived, and he was playing Sylvester
all right,
Stallone.
So I'll steal something from the Going in Raw guys. They do confidence points, but I'll just do zero. I'll do 0 to 100. All right, so we could agree. Last Blood, dissatisfying end. What's the percentage you're giving for one more Rambo movie?
Oh, do they? Can I do? I usually turn it off at that point. They're good.
No, they do confidence points.
I know what they do.
I'm not even doing confidence points. We've said it before. I said, what percentage are you going to give?
-5. I don't,
really?
I don't think.
I'll say 15%.
With Stallone?
Yeah.
No, they can't. Come on. At this point, please. I could see them rebooting it at some point, for a new generation. there's certainly a lot of story there that has not been touched, especially from the original novel. So, and I've heard rumors about that, but Stallone and Rambo are done. At least I hope so.
Okay.
And you know how much I love both. But no, it's time to retire that.
All right, Groo, you're going to be absolutely stunned at this news item. If you can call this that on Arnold.
Oh, boy.
So, Miriam Margolis performed as Mabel, Satan's sister, in the Arnold-led movie End of Days. Miriam claimed that he deliberately farted in her face, which she found rude and unprofessional. Go ahead and play. He's a modern-day Fred Norris, folks. The incident has been a contention between Margulies and Schwarzenegger for many years. End of Days came out in 1990. It stars Arnold, Gabriel Byrne from Hereditary, which I just saw. Wacky A24 horror movie. Robin Tunney and Kevin Pollak. Actress Miriam Margulies, who played Mabel in End of Days, recently talked to the I've Got News for You podcast about her experiences working with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She explained that she, quote, didn't care for him, calling him, quote, a bit too full of himself. Margulies continued that Schwarzenegger was extremely rude and unprofessional by farting in her face during filming. She took it personally and still harbors resentment towards her co-star, which, if this is true, I would too. She says, quote, he was actually quite rude. He farted in my face. Now, I fart, of course, I do, but I don't fart in people's faces. He did it deliberately, right in my face. Margulies thought Schwarzenegger's rude behavior was done on purpose to show who's the boss, or, Schwarzenegger was the boss. Since then, she's avoided him and has had no intention of ever working with him again. End of Days received a generally negative critical reception upon its release in 1990. The film and Schwarzenegger, specifically Groo, were panned for its confusing plot and lackluster acting. End of Days was nominated for 4 Razzies. I did not know that. Groo, I have the controversial clip right now. Here, I'll tilt if you want to see. Here's the actual clip, and here we go.
You're not going anywhere. Run away now.
Wait a minute. I thought she was talking about behind the scenes.
This is the actual clip, Groo.
No, somebody added those sounds.
This is not a goof.
Somebody added those sounds in. Come on.
Well, I thought it was a great clip.
It is great.
This is the research you get here on Van Dammit. Groo, could this actually really be true? And why have I not read about this until now? I mean, Miriam Margulies, I don't think she's done really much with her Hollywood career. But from reading the article, she's made it a point of every B-level podcast and television talk show to ring out Arnold. I don't know if it's true or not. What do you think about that? Seriously.
Well, first of all, Arnold is the boss, and he can do what he wants with that. There are some people who, for whatever reason, are what I like to call above the moral law, meaning they can pretty much do what they want and get away with it at this point in their lives and careers.
Well, maybe back in 1990, you think? Let me ask you a question.
Well, the story's coming out now, right?
Okay, no, this is the first I've read about it, but I believe she's been making this statement for quite a while, saying Arnold was unprofessional and he poofed in my face.
Well, I think you stack that up against, all the Me Too stuff and all the.
Well, I mean, if this happened now, somebody could get in maybe some trouble, serious trouble.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look.
Are you telling me if Keanu Reeves did a film, John Wick 17, and all right, I don't even.
Yes, he would get in trouble, but he's not above the moral law. Arnold Schwarzenegger is.
Even today?
I think so.
Really?
Even these guys. I don't know. For some reason, they're just because think of the things that Schwarzenegger has dealt with. Okay, his public persona has survived marital infidelity.
Okay, but that's infidelity.
Okay, but it's high profile infidelity. He was married to a Kennedy. He had a child out of wedlock.
You're not, but okay.
Those used to be career killers.
Really?
Yeah, back in definitely in like the 50s and 60s, like around then, people. We had a moral compass in this country for a long time. Now
the moral compass is so wacky.
No,
but
the moral compass is it's a self-serving thing.
All right, well, that's for another time. But okay. I mean, listen. I think infidelity.
I don't think that's a big deal.
Infidelity, having a kid out of wedlock, that's obviously disrespectful to the marital union. But if you're on set and you're touching somebody inappropriately, you're even speaking to him inappropriately, or doing something like that, that I think could be a career ender.
Definitely could be, but I could think of a lot. I mean,
Miriam, come here, smell my finger.
I mean, all right. If we want to look at it,
no jokes. Smell my finger.
If we want to look at it from that perspective, maybe if she really, because that's her view of it.
Yes,
meaning that he was doing this to show me that I was lower than scum,
as verified by that YouTube clip. Miriam, pull my finger.
But to me, it could like if Schwarzenegger's telling the story, he could easily be saying, "Yeah, she was my co-star. We're just playing around." That's a terrible impersonation. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, like if some people would take it as a compliment. Like if I did that to you. Okay, it would.
I wouldn't be happy about it.
You wouldn't love it, but you'd be like,
I don't think it would end our friendship.
You'd be like, you motherfucker.
Exactly.
You'd be like that, but you wouldn't be like.
No, I'm not going to go on the.
Okay, I'm going to wait 20 years and then write about it. I know this is different, but I think people know who people are at this point, and I'm not saying that it's right, but
I mean,
listen,
I'm not going to, if you fart in my face, I'm not going to go on the I've Got News podcast and bash you.
Yeah, you're violating somebody. At this point, everybody's got their own personal little bubble around them that you're not allowed to violate in any way. And that's an invisible bubble that, is sensitive to the touch, to all the senses. And you can't violate it, whether it's by something you say or something you do. Obviously, Louis C.K. proved that. So,
oh boy,
because
I feel an Andrew Guthius rant.
No,
coming.
Because he didn't touch anybody. He just did something that was very offensive. And you know what? Like if he did that in front of me, I don't think I would complain to the newspapers. I think I would try to beat the shit out of him. But that's
all right, you're a dude.
Exactly.
By the way, I just want to add "Invisible Bubble," my favorite Genesis song.
That is a great song.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, so I don't put a lot into this because there are a lot worse things you could do to somebody.
I just thought it was
it's a great story.
It's a great read. Groo, what actor would you want to lead the world in an alien invasion?
Actor.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not thinking character. I'm
completely
thinking
farcical kind of thing.
Okay, easy. Harrison Ford.
Okay, so Great Britain weighed in on this very topic with an internet survey, and you will not believe who won out. A poll conducted by the media outlet Blaze in the UK involving 2,000 adults has delivered a definitive verdict for such a crisis scenario. The world population in need of a leader would most effectively turn to Arnold Schwarzenegger, UK. The second most favorite candidate to be nominated was Independence Day, Men in Black, and I Am Legend actor Will Smith. Arnold Schwarzenegger came out on top as winner, took note of the fact in good stride, and recently posted on Twitter, "I want to thank the people for putting their faith in me. I am ready to serve." The list also includes such celebrity figures as Piers Morgan, Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis, Sigourney Weaver, Harrison Ford, Gillian Anderson. Also included Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden were some of the few notable political figures to make it on the list. Groo, aliens beware. We got Arnie and Will in charge.
Will's gonna bitch slap him. Is that what it was?
Bitch slap.
Hey-o. Good for us. I mean,
all right. I'm just making conversation.
Arnold, yes. Will Smith, I'm not a fan of.
All right. Groo, it's my favorite time of the day. It's another wacky Steven Seagal article. Groo, we've discussed on this very podcast the alleged confrontation between Judo Gene Lebell and Steven Seagal. Long story short, Judo Gene says he made Seagal crap his pants, quite literally with a chokehold. Seagal vehemently denied this story on a recent episode of the MMA Hour, saying, well, here, I'll play it for Ariel Helwani, who's been on the WWE pre-show, big-time MMA.
Yeah, no, she is.
Okay. He. All right. Let me see here.
Everybody go to Stanley Sport.
All right, Ariel Helwani. So here's Seagal is on this MMA Hour. You got to see this. So I think the funny thing about this is Ariel, who's like the number one he's like Rogan. Ariel Helwani is like a big time MMA guy,
right?
So he's sort of treating Seagal very reverentially, but like winking to his audience, knowing I think he's thinking Seagal is really full of shit. Not that he's not a legitimate martial artist, but he's certainly not a legitimate fighter MMA guy. So let's hear what Steven says.
How old is this?
I guess this is about 10 years old.
Okay.
But if you see the clip, it's modern studio.
All right, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, there's been this sort of story that's been passed around, and I like to get to the bottom of things. I'm sure you can appreciate that. You versus Judo Gene Lebell. What exactly happened on the set of that movie?
I don't even know if he's still alive. Is he still alive?
Actually, we just had him on the show like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I never knew this about him. Either he is a pathological liar or he had somebody, making up these stories. He came over to my trailer, and I was with a guy called Conrad Palmisano, who is still a legend, one of the greatest stunt coordinators in the history of Hollywood.
Listen to this.
And we were standing there, we were just talking about moves and stuff like that, and we were just doing some stretching. And, he was showing me, how you can stretch, or he wanted to stretch.
He sounds like he's standing on the corner of like JCPenney with the Yentas from, in Searingtown Road and Washington.
Said thank you for that. There was never ever any confrontation with him ever.
Never.
In any way, shape, or form. And I swear to God on my children, they're the most sacred thing to me in this life.
All right, so as you could hear, let's see here, Judo. Seagal completely downplays it, and let's see. One thing Steven should be aware about, and maybe you should be aware, Groo, is Judo Gene is Ronda Rousey's coach. Courtesy of the Bleacher Report, this is what Ronda had to say about Steven Seagal's comments towards her coach, and actually, I won't even have to read it. I'll just play it. MMAinterviews.tv. Ronda Rousey saying she'll make Steven Seagal poop himself like her uncle Gene Lebell did. Here's Ronda.
Gene Lebell also. Steven Seagal went on the MMA Hour, and Ariel was talking with him, and Steven Seagal said that never happened, and he's senile and delusional, and this and that all that stuff that happened on set, supposedly, allegedly, didn't happen. What do you think about that?
Well, would you ever admit it? A, and B. I mean, obviously the guy's a liar. I mean, he told everybody he taught Anderson Silva that kick. I mean, seriously, the guy doesn't have a very good track record, I'm so mad that he would say anything like that to Gene. I don't want to give anyone another quote. I'm going to give you another quote. I would beat the crap out of Steven Seagal. But
enough already.
I bet I could.
All right, well, geez.
Well, it's time to stop pretending that Steven Seagal does not live in his own universe. Okay, everyone's talking about like they're talking about him like they expect him to behave rationally. He's crazy. He's always has been. He's obviously I'll bet you $1,000 he believes every word of what he said.
Well,
and I'll bet you 1,000 more that none of it's true.
Any good liar? I mean,
well, he's. But I don't. Like, I don't even...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Because you seem annoyed by this clip. I'm doing it for entertainment. Like, are you annoyed?
No, I'm not annoyed by the clip.
Like, are you annoyed at Ronda and Ariel Helwani?
I'm annoyed.
For bringing that stuff up?
I'm annoyed that people are still trying to make sense out of Seagal and his behavior. Well, he obviously lives on another planet. All right. Okay. I mean, that's just who he always has been. So stop trying to, like, there's no point in trying to make sense or even someone told me one time you can't argue with a crazy person because you can never win because they will always see it the way.
So we're taking the crazy person's side because they're crazy?
I'm not taking his side at all. I'm saying stop trying to make sense out of it and say, he's full of shit. Who cares? Move on. Why even discuss it? Because like that, like not us. I mean, like, why is it even a thing anymore? Like you said, it's another day, another weird Steven Seagal story. And, like, he obviously doesn't tell the truth. He makes up his own stuff, but I'm sure he believes it. And, why give him... He's not even a celebrity anymore. Like he doesn't do anything. Why are we even talking? Why are they even talking about him?
He's still a celebrity. He's still... You get current articles with him if you do a search. And it's a great story.
Well, it's
a great story because, number one, and again, I have not criticized Steven on the podcast for some of his current stuff. I mean, his movies, blah, blah, blah. But my thing is, one thing I have said is, his behavior. There's been so many people that have talked about his behavior on set, and we even talked about on the last podcast how. The studios probably engendered his behavior to be but he's probably I think he tried to fire an electrician because so my point being he probably was talking a lot of shit and he got taken down a couple of pegs, and so people like to revel in that story.
Yeah, but here's the thing: he keeps doing this loathsome stuff, okay, for his entire career. And people keep giving him jobs. So if your business is going to continue to promote this kind of behavior, stop complaining about it. That's kind of what it is. Every movie set that this guy has been on, he has done something stupid, crazy, selfish, idiotic, offensive, whatever. And yet look at his filmography. He's got like 300 movies or whatever. People are still giving him jobs. There used to be a time where if you did something fucked up, you were unhireable. Now, it's just not like that. Now, I'm not saying that because I hate Seagal. I don't. You know that I like some of his movies. Well, but I also know that he's nuts. And people who are nuts, you can't feed into their thing. Otherwise, they just get more nuts. And yet, all of these people do is just keep feeding into because it's entertaining. I mean, that's why we're talking about it anyway, right?
Yeah, but I mean...
It is entertaining.
I think really all these allegations were back in the 2000s, and now he gets blasted for the Russia thing, and really for making just bad straight-to-streaming movies that, for the most part, fall under the radar, right?
Yes, which he, of course, thinks are probably Oscar contenders, because he's crazy. That's just who he is.
Well, maybe he has aphasia like Bruce Willis. He has, and that's how he's still doing the...
I wouldn't wish that on him.
All right, well, I sort of apologize. All right, Groo. Look, Groo, like it or not, Creed 3 has delivered a knockout performance, $224 million globally at the box office. It only makes sense that MGM and the producers of the Rocky spin-off series will be looking at a supposed Drago spin-off for more heavyweight cinema dollars, courtesy of Yahoo.com. Dolph Lundgren gives us an update regarding that potential spinoff. The Drago spinoff looks like it's still moving forward, and Dolph would love if his friend Sylvester Stallone were involved during the promotion of his new action thriller, The Best Man. We played the trailer on the last podcast. Lundgren said the following: there was a writer who wrote a script for Drago. It wasn't very good, so everybody's waiting for a new writer to come in and try to shape it up. We know that the development of the Drago spinoff at MGM Studios sparked controversy, as Stallone initially shared his not-so-nice thoughts about the project. He specifically called out producer Irwin Winkler and his sons, Charles and David, accusing them of, quote, picking clean the bones of the beloved boxing franchise and the character of Drago without even speaking with him. Dolph, for the most part, says the issues between him and the Rocky star have been, quote, cleared out, and he holds out hope that his longtime friend will get involved both in front of and behind the camera. Dolph continued, quote, I certainly like Sly to get involved. He's a very smart man. He's a great producer, and also will be fun to act with him again. Dolph says Drago could hit theaters in late 2024, 2025, but it depends on when the filming begins. It's yet to be seen if Stallone will join his action colleague on screen, but the 2 action movie A-listers will share the screen soon in The Expendables 4. Groo, take a hit of your vape pen. Drago might still be a go. You got to see his face.
There are a lot of levels to this story here.
He's so perturbed.
No, I'm not perturbed.
Wabbo dabbo.
Well, because the thing is, I'm trying to. There's a lot to unpack there, because
there is.
I know about the. I remember when this happened. It was less than a year ago, I think. Dolph Lundgren was approached, I believe, by the producers of Rocky about a possible Drago spinoff.
Oh yeah, fucking love. Well,
wait. I have to finish. I have to finish the thought. So
what? I'm a track off. We've talked about this though.
Yes. So Dolph Lundgren is probably like I 1,000% believe Lundgren, when he got that phone call or whatever, assumed that Stallone was behind the whole thing, which is a safe assumption. Okay. Unfortunately, he wasn't. He had a falling out with the producers. Stallone doesn't own the rights to the franchise, so these other people, Irwin Winkler, can do whatever the hell he wants with it. Irwin Winkler and his sons.
Right.
And that's the genesis of the whole falling out, why Stallone wasn't involved in Creed 3 and why he wants nothing to do with it. So what Stallone has said, I believe, is that he would do anything having to do with Rocky. The one caveat was the Winklers can't be involved.
Okay.
And that's just not going to happen. So I don't have – I honestly – if it's good, because look, I lost all credibility with Creed 3 because I said I wasn't going to see it because I wasn't
I know, but he came on here. He let everybody know he didn't pay for his ticket, and
yeah,
he gave one of those like it's a good movie, but I didn't like it.
No,
but
I didn't think it was a good movie. I didn't like it. If it was a good, that's what I'm going to say at this point. I'm going to be like,
all right,
okay,
Rambo's a bad Rambo movie, but it's a good movie. I can't.
No, it wasn't. I
don't understand. I'm lost.
I just didn't think it was a very good movie.
I'm confused.
Now, if they do a Drago spinoff, I don't know where they would. Where's there to go with that?
Oh, come on! I mean,
what was that?
That's Coke Zero. So, I mean, again, I liked Creed 2, not as much as the first one, but the heart of Creed 2 is Drago and his son. There's probably a lot to mine there. Okay. Maybe they're in the States. Maybe they're back in Russia.
Fair, I did forget that
daddy issues. And there was a lot of.
This is how forgettable Creed 3 was for me. I forgot that Victor Drago was in Creed 3. I forgot about that.
He wouldn't begrudgingly admit Creed 3 had some quality.
No, I didn't say that made it any better. I'm just saying that I stand corrected. There might be, he has a place in the story, Creed 2 definitely made me look at the character of Drago in a different way. So did the new version of Rocky 4. So I would probably see it out of interest, and hopefully it would be a good movie. And if it's a good movie, I will say it's a good movie.
If Andrew Groothy's answer was reflected by a highway, it would be a meandering. It wouldn't be like I-95 north-south. It would just. Go ahead. Get your baby blanket. I'd be interested. I hate to say it, if they did a Drago spinoff. I thought that the whole heart of Creed 2 was indeed the Drago character. I don't know if it would be quality. Obviously you want Stallone to sign off on it. You want him maybe to be involved at least behind the scenes or writing. But what can I say? I'm not a guy that would kill it if Stallone wasn't involved, because I guess that's Hollywood. He doesn't have the rights, and I'm not going to be one of these guys that picking the bones, Winklers. I mean, that's his fight, and I didn't like what he said on Instagram. I thought it was a little bit beneath him, but
I agree with you. I agree with that.
That's just my personal take on the deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When somebody does that, they're trying to get. Now, I don't know what they're.
The only thing I would question about what you said was, I mean, is it a foregone? Dolph Lundgren is approached to do a Drago spinoff. To just assume Sly would be involved, I don't know. I might call a little BS on that.
The way the communication lines work in Hollywood, at least the way they worked when I was out there, like that's how the communication is. Like, it's not like we all get together and say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. It's like Dolph Lundgren runs into Irwin Winkler at a restaurant and say, hey, listen, here, it's good that I saw you. Here's a script. This is what we're like. And it's not like he would get in the car and, hit a button and call Sly, because, these people, they work together. They're colleagues, but that doesn't mean that they're, hanging out on the weekends. Right. So I could 1,000% believe that Lundgren, that, you heard him. He said they cleared everything up. He probably said, listen, I figured you were involved. If you're not, I won't do it without your blessing.
All right,
I think that's kind of what happened.
Two things. Number one, your car's been Brianized. Number two...
Wait, what?
I just said a great line. Your car's been Brianized. Family Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Number two, 0 to 100, Drago spinoff gets... you see a commercial, it's going to be on Amazon. What 0 to 100, what percentage Andrew Gutierrez is going to turn it on and watch it?
Oh, what? I'll watch it? Or
yeah, give me a percentage.
Happened?
No.
Percentage 100.
100, okay.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. I need to go get the plug. My computer's running low. We're going to make our predictions on WWE Backlash.
Okay, we'll be right back after this pause that will seem like less than a second to you, but a couple minutes for us.
All right, Andrew, you want to make your predictions on WWE Backlash?
Yes, we got Backlash tonight.
All right,
tonight.
We'll be here
from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Greasy Italian food, ready to order. All right, look, I'm going to just go with not in any particular order that I read it on the internet, so I'll have Andrew go first with his prediction. Groo, a celebrity street fight, Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. Andrew, give us what you got.
Tough one to call, because I think they have to put over Bad Bunny here. But that, I think that even if you book him strong, it still hurts Damian Priest. He's losing, even though Bad Bunny is good at this. For Damian Priest to fall to a celebrity, I don't know. I think I got to call. I think in the end they're going to go the smart route, and I'm going to call Damian Priest.
Ooh, you just gave you just made 9 things to why Bad Bunny's going to win. All right, listen.
Well, don't you remember the last time I did that? I said I did that whole lead up to the Cody Roman one, and I said, Cody's got the momentum. He's got this, got that, That's why I think Roman Reigns is going to win.
All right, well, you were right.
So I'm calling Damian Priest. Don't you agree with that though?
With what?
That's what they should do.
I'm going to give you my prediction.
All right, go ahead.
Priest should win, but he won't. Typical WWE booking here is where the celebrity wins. Bad Bunny is a major music star. He's a Puerto Rican icon. I do expect a fun, snug match, and I respect Bad Bunny. He's not a celebrity that just goes in to do a quick run-in. He seems to have been coached and has gone through training, and he seems like he may want to actually be a legitimate wrestler in spots, but in the Evan Moody booking, there's no way a celebrity, and Bad Bunny's not a tiny guy, but he's like my size, 175, 180. No, we shouldn't beat Damian Priest, who's like 6'5", almost 300.
Who's on his way up.
Yes.
And you don't want to,
Well, I think, listen, in the world of wrestling, you're only one. I think this is still going to elevate Damian Priest because well, from what I read, it's not going to close the show. It probably should, but it's not going to close the show.
It's not going to close the show?
No,
that makes me even more confident in my opinion.
All right, but listen, Bad Bunny's going to get the win here. So Andrew and I disagree here. Okay. All right, I'll take this one first. United States Championship, Austin Theory, the champ, versus Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed. Listen, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to take Bronson Reed, one of Triple H's guys from NXT. I want to get on the Austin Theory bandwagon, Groo, but he's just not moving me right now. He probably will win, but he shouldn't. They need to take the belt off Austin Theory, unleash the character, change it up. So you know what? I'll go with the NXT Triple H guy, Bronson Reed. What do you got?
I am in 99% agreement with you on everything except the actual winner. Yeah. I think it's going to go to Lashley.
Okay.
I think Lashley's going to, but I mean, it doesn't really matter well, it does matter who takes the pin. I don't think Theory takes the pin.
Okay.
But you're right. They got to get the belt off Theory and do a complete reboot with him. So I think it's going to go to Lashley.
All right, we'll go to Andrew first on the next one for the Raw Women's Championship. Champion Bianca Belair versus Io Sky from Damage Control. Grooey, what do you got?
Bianca, she's keeping the belt for a while.
Yeah, Bianca 100%. Expect Bayley to fuck it up for Io Sky and maybe start the Damage Control breakup. Io Sky is much better off as a singles. Anyway, all right, I'll take this one first. Next, Seth Rollins versus Omos. Groo, I kind of see this as a sleeper of a match. Very minimal build-up. In the end, I think it's going to end up like a typical Omos match. He's going to ragdoll Seth Rollins for a couple of minutes, and once Seth gets going, lights out for the big man. I just don't see it any other way. Seth Rollins gets the win here for me.
Agree. I called Seth Rollins in this one. I'm not quite sure why. I think there's a reason that Omos didn't get drafted. And it's not because he's above brand like Brock Lesnar. I think it's because they don't know what to do with him right now. So I'm not even thrilled that this match is happening because they just threw it in there. It has no build up. So but I'm hoping you're right and that they show something. If anybody could make Omos exciting, it's Seth Rollins. But Rollins is on a super trajectory right now. He's got to win, and he's got to win clean.
All right, Andrew, we'll go to Andrew next on this one. This is the match I believe that's going to close the night, and I probably wouldn't have it, but it's a big one. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Who do you got, Andrew? Want to hear this one?
All right, the cool part of this match, besides everything, is the fact that their main event is too close to call. I have no fucking idea who's going to win this.
I don't believe it.
I have to hear what you have to say first.
All right, fine.
I really don't.
Okay.
I really don't because I think that this is just the first between these two.
I don't disagree with that. Here's what I got. I'll read you what I got. A really tough one to pick here, so I agree with you on that one. Cody needs a big win here, and he might get it. If Evan Moody is writing, I still have Brock go over in a close one to extend the feud and have Cody go over at a later pay-per-view. They want to sell adversity. In my mind, I think Brock goes over first. Maybe we'll see these guys later on, Night of Champions, perhaps SummerSlam. I won't be surprised if Cody wins here, but I'm going to go with Brock Lesnar for now.
All right, so you mentioned the talking point, which is the fact that if Cody wins, the feud is over because Cody, that's another mountain that he climbed to get back to Roman. So that to me is the key here. So I'm going to agree with you and I'm going to say Brock is going to win this and then we'll see them again at Night of Champions.
All right. So we agree there. I'll take this one first for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. Listen, Zelina is a Puerto Rican icon. She's been getting massive pops on SmackDown in Puerto Rico, but no way. Rhea Ripley in a squash.
Yeah. You think a squash in Puerto Rico?
Listen, I mean,
they did a lot of. Did you see the press conference?
I didn't see the press conference. I saw the SmackDown, the ending on YouTube. I mean, look, squash, close. Rhea Ripley's winning.
I agree with you there.
I'm putting $10 in my left nut on this one. Okay, so Rhea Ripley. There's just no way.
Yes, 100% Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's going to be. I think Rhea Ripley's going to be on a Roman-like run. I think this is the beginning. But a squash, they seem to be putting a lot of attention on this match. Rhea's winning. I just don't know.
Zelina Vega doesn't even stack physically against her. I mean, fine. You want to give her a quick.
There's too many people involved for it to be a squash.
I'm calling Rhea and I'm calling quick. Here, how about this? I'm saying 5 minutes and under. Maybe 7.
I'll take the under 5, but a squash is like 30 seconds.
Well, if you beat somebody in 5 minutes in the world of pro wrestling, that's
I see a squash more like a Goldberg squash.
Right.
Like he comes in, spears over. Like that.
Well, they should. All
right.
Listen, Zelina Vega is insanely beautiful. I mean, my goodness, that is a beautiful woman. And she's not a bad wrestler, but she's a lot smaller than Rhea, and it just common sense wise, eye test, I got Rhea the champ going over strong. All right, we'll go to Andy first. This one's probably going to be placed before the main event. It's Matt Riddle, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn versus the Usos and Solo Sikoa. Andrew, what do you got?
I got Owens, Zayn, and Riddle in this one. I think those three are red hot right now. I'm loving what they're doing, like, the shtick. I think it'll run out of gas probably within the next month or so, and then they'll make some changes. And I think the Usos are going to lose because they are I think they're setting up a storyline where they really are going to have to answer to Roman Reigns for a long period of ineffectiveness. So I think this will continue that. So yes, I'm calling. I think it's going to be a great match, possibly match of the night. These guys have been delivering on every level, but I'm calling Riddle, Zayn, and Owens.
All right, this is really good because here's my thoughts. Tag titles not up for grabs. That means a bloodline victory. Expect Solo Sikoa to shine here as they are positioning him to be the next star of the group. Riddle takes the pin. Bloodline win a meaningless one. Could it actually play out like Andy said? Absolutely. But I'm looking at it at a different position. I'm looking at it as titles are not up for grabs. The booking's there for the bloodline to win and maybe to give Solo Sikoa. He's really been pushed super strong on SmackDown. He's essentially Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns is not there. A real quiet version. So I see it a little bit differently.
But here's what it looks like they're trying to do. It looks like they're trying to drive a wedge between Solo and the Usos, and that Heyman is kind of behind it. It looks like there's a lot of maneuvering there. So you don't see like what I'm seeing is like Solo is booked super strong, and he's got the match won, and then Jimmy or Jay does something to screw it up, and then Riddle gets a roll up or something.
I could also then just say that the Usos do a poor job, and Solo comes in and saves them.
All right,
gets
that's a
gets
good one
the bailout victory.
That's a great one too.
I could see it that way, but
could you see a Roman appearance?
No, not here. I think he's been already announced for the next SmackDown, which is going to build up for Night of Champions, which he will be there.
Yeah, that's true.
But I feel like they got a long way to go. They got a full year, and I think if you're going to see this through with everything, let it go till Mania, and you're going to see a lot of dips and turns, but. Listen, you make a good point. I just don't see it happening that way, but I'll just say, listen, you know what? It's like when they do a non-title match. You know that the champion's got a good chance of losing. So tag titles are not up for grabs here. They'll eat the pin. It's as simple as that.
All right. Well,
I'm
going to stick with my pick, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
But now, as Andy was going over it, I'm like, we have a couple of picks different. I'm going to be sitting on that couch. Hot slice of pizza, chicken parm in fucking heaven.
We also got M&Ms.
There you go. Perfect. All right, let's talk Freddy versus Jason. It's a 2003 American.
Wait, I do have one more thing I wanted to discuss.
Oh, goodness.
Okay,
let me take a sippy of my...
It has to do with the Dominic Mysterio storyline that's not really involved in Backlash.
All right,
but it involves Rhea Ripley.
Go ahead.
Do you think that because they've drafted Dominic and Ray. They're splitting them up. So now they're going to see what Dominic can really do in a feud that's got nothing to do with his father. He's getting the most massive heel heat I've ever seen, quite honestly. I see them because he's still not great in the ring.
He's not terrible.
No, he's not terrible, but he's got work to do.
I watched his match with on SmackDown. He did a great job with his dad. He did the Three Amigos thing.
Yeah, he's getting a lot better.
Ray rolled him up,
but he is a mega heel, and you got to keep him there for a while. And I see Rhea Ripley actually turning on him at some point. And him them starting a Dominic redemption arc. Like, I was just thinking about this watching SmackDown last night. I'm like, where do you think they're going with this? Where do you think they're going with him now that they're kind of taking the deadbeat dad thing out of it, the thing that caused all the heat? Where do you see that going?
Andrew's the guy who calls into Sports Talk and goes, "Hey, I'd like to propose a trade. The entire Knicks starting five for LeBron James." And the guy goes, "Okay, click."
Next.
I mean, I don't really.
It didn't come out the way it did in my head. I was thinking about it last night.
Listen, everything with wrestling is a cycle. It's a soap opera. So eventually, Dominic's going to be redeemed. But right now, I don't see anything anytime soon, and I wouldn't mess with these guys anytime soon. Dominic is getting crazy heel hate, and it's been verified by a lot of fan videos because there was the rumor about WWE's pumping in crowd noise.
Yeah, I did hear that.
People have posted raw footage. I think was it Raw in Texas or where, and they were booing
it's legit.
So and Rhea is
Rhea's getting face.
Okay, but a reaction's a reaction.
Imagine the pop.
But those two,
if she turns on him, she just attacks him.
Well, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Your dum-dum doesn't work anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, I love her too.
She's awesome. All right, we can move on. I just wanted to get that out. Freddy versus Jason.
All right. Miriam, smell my finger.
Yeah. No, wait. What's your prediction of Freddy versus Jason? What was your prediction going into the movie?
I remember as a kid being super excited because this one, I don't think as a kid we had a modern crossover film like this. Like, I knew there was the Godzilla versus Kong, like the 68, like there was an old one. But I remember being super excited because I was a good horror.
You didn't like it when Arnold Jackson showed up on silver spoons with Ricky Stratton and they ran like the computer caper that changed all the grades?
No, now you're being goofy because this is movies. This is a whole other level. This is not...
come on.
This is not Miss Garrett on Different Strokes. Okay,
hey, don't mess with my Miss Garrett.
No, but when I heard that this was actually, and I saw the Freddy Goes to Hell, and when the claw came up and dragged Jason, I was just as excited then. And then you just had a long period of nothing, and maybe the internet was starting to get big. I don't remember really trying to see if any progress on the film, but
what year was Jason Goes to Hell?
Jason Goes to Hell was 1993.
Okay, so that was like a good 10 years before.
Right. So let me let me set it up with.
Okay.
So 2003, Freddy vs. Jason, directed by Ronny Yu. It's the crossover between A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th franchises. It's the 8th installment in the Nightmare franchise and the 11th installment in the Friday the 13th franchise. Film joins the two series in a shared universe and pits their respective antagonists, Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, against each other. The film is set chronologically after Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, 1991, and Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, 1993. And it's the last film in each franchise before their respective reboot.
So it ignores Jason Goes to Hell? No, it ignores Jason X.
Yeah.
And Freddy ignores, I guess, what Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
No, I think it's maybe my notes are set after
Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
Yeah,
was I think the 6th. They had Nightmare on 4. Just go with me here. I think they got Nightmare 4. I think that was the Dream the Dream Master.
Dream Warriors.
Nightmare 3 was Dream Warriors. Nightmare 4 was the Dream Master. Nightmare 5 was the Dream Child. And I think Freddy's Dead Final Nightmare was 6. And then they did Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah, Wes Craven's New Nightmare is 1994.
Okay. And when was Freddy's Dead?
91. So
right. Okay. So
all right.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I think
yes,
this
Andrew.
ignore. No, I just what it's.
I got you.
Okay. So Wes Craven's New Nightmare and Jason X never happened, as far as Freddy vs.
Right,
Jason.
because I think I don't want to get the Wes Craven was like a whole meta thing. It was
it was great. Yeah, but it wasn't part. It was not a linear part of the Elm Street thing, but I thought it was really good.
All right, listen, let's get to it, Groo. Right. Today's Van Damme podcast, Freddy vs. Jason, is brought to you by New You Life Center. Meet the New You team at www.newyoulifecenters.com. Check out the photos and the biographies of the team. That's Marie, Dr. Cynthia, Nurse Brittany at the New You website. Follow New You on Instagram at New You Life Center. Take advantage of those specials and monthly giveaways. Give them a call, 602-274-0068. Tell them Moody and Groo sent you and receive a big 15% off your first service. New You Life Centers, Phoenix Premier Med Spa for Botox, fillers, lasers, aesthetics, weight loss, and hormone optimization. A big Van Damme and thank you to New Life Center. Freddie could definitely benefit from some fillers.
Yes, he would definitely. His pores definitely need sucking.
Yes. You know what? Listen, I already said this to you before. The period of development hell that this movie is in, you're going from essentially 1987 literally through 2003. There's a lot to cover. But you mentioned Jason X. I'm going to just touch upon some small things. So basically, they developed, Sean Cunningham was frustrated. He kept on waiting to get this Freddy vs. Jason movie made. It doesn't happen. So that led him to create Jason X to keep the series alive. Based on the Jason Takes Manhattan concept of taking Jason away from Crystal Lake, the 10th film put Jason, the titular character, in space. Did you see Jason X? Real quick, any thoughts?
I bought a ticket to see the movie Jason X, knowing nothing about it other than it was the next Friday the 13th movie. I walked in, and as soon as I saw the spaceship, I walked out. So the answer is yes and no. I have no clue beyond that it was a Jason in space. I have no clue about Jason X.
I feel like I'm the only guy who actually kind of enjoyed Jason X. I'm going to give a Groo review. It's not a good movie, but it's campy as hell. And I enjoyed
not a good movie, but I love it.
I enjoyed its ridiculousness. Anyway.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd like it. I just didn't see it. I saw that it was in space. I was like, hell no. No way.
So listen, this movie got passed along, and basically David Goyer returned back to the project in March of 2002, and he trimmed every ounce of fat from the Swift and Shannon 120-page script. Ronny Yu, who turned it down initially, eventually signed on to direct the film. May of 2002, he was given a green light and given an enormous amount of creative freedom. Let's see here. Well, they had a thing having to do with Pinhead from Hellraiser, but New Line did not want to secure the rights on that one. So basically, we're going March of 2002, Freddy vs. Jason. The script is locked in. Groo, you're a Hollywood guy. What started in 1987 finally is locked in 2002, some 15 years later. What are your thoughts? I mean, does this surprise you? Does it take this long to get something on?
Oh yeah, if you look at some of the biggest movies that have ever been made, you'll see that they started developing them 10, 15 years earlier. Goodfellas, they were trying to. It's very common, and the reason basically is they have to get a great script. Because unless that, it's like if you run New Line Cinema, which owns Nightmare on Elm Street, and if I run Paramount, which owns Friday the 13th, you and I are the heads of the companies. We sit down and we say, all right, I got Jason, you got Freddy. Let's make a deal that we can make this crossover thing, whatever. If the script isn't, if you can't convince me that this script isn't good, it is not going to make millions and millions of dollars because it's not good, the deal's not going to go until that script is what is at least filmable. And so it's very common because a great script is hard to come by.
What about these rights fees? When you have situations where you have characters that are owned by certain studios, how does that play into a potential crossover movie? Or
it all has to do with people's willingness to make deals and to make sure that everybody is going to profit enough and that it won't hurt them on the back end. You know, it'd be like DC and Marvel, like DC trying to use Spider-Man on something or vice versa. If Kevin Feige and James Gunn were able to sit down and say, all right, can we in this one movie, can I use Wolverine here and we'll trade off. Same thing with like Triple H and Tony Khan. It's the same type of idea. If two people could sit down and make a deal that's going to benefit everybody, there's no reason not to do it. And this isn't, but there's got to be something in it for everybody. And if there's not a good story or a good script or a good idea, you know, you can't just come to the table with, let's do Freddy against Jason. It's got to be ready to be signed.
What if I told you James Gunn said he could see 10 years in the future a Marvel DC crossover? What would you say to that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, listen, Groo, 1999, Robert Englund.
Did that happen, by the way?
Yeah, he was quoted saying 10 years he could see a potential Marvel
absolutely.
DC.
Especially if he's willing. That's all it takes.
Okay. Robert Englund officially signed on to the film, marking his 8th appearance as the character of Freddy Krueger. In August 2002, Entertainment Weekly revealed Kelly Rowland of Destiny's Child fame and Brad Renfro was cast as the film, while Kane Hodder would reprise his role as Jason Voorhees. However, conflicting reports emerged, with IGN stating that the film was looking to reinvent the character, thus ditching Kane Hodder. Betsy Palmer was courted to reprise her role as Pamela Voorhees from Friday the 13th, but declined due to salary disputes. Actress Paula Shaw would assume the role from Palmer. Just 1 week before production commenced, Jason Ritter, son of John Ritter, was cast in place of Renfro. Hold your thoughts on Kane Hodder, because we're going to talk about that in 1 second, but any thoughts on Kelly Rowland, Destiny's Child, and you saw the Friday documentary. Betsy Palmer kind of ragged on the role that she was offered for Freddy vs. Jason when that she turned it down. Did you see that clip?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Save your thoughts on Jason, but
okay.
Any thoughts on?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I was surprised. Kelly Rowland's a big name. Destiny's Child was huge back then.
Well, at the time, the other dude, Brad Renfro, was he was in a lot of high profile stuff, but he was on a slippery slope of like drugs that eventually killed him. But Kelly Rowland, that was a big deal. And who was the other you were saying?
Well, I just wanted to ask you because Betsy Palmer.
Oh yeah. I mean, whatever they were offering her, I don't think she said it in the thing.
No, she was like she had 1 or 2 lines, and the money they offered her was, in her eyes, shit. But she just seemed very dismissive and even a tad bit disrespectful on the documentary. She was like, an actress of my is not going to, and that's my only minor take on it.
Well, I'll say that she was probably reacting to that. She probably felt disrespected. I mean, you got a legacy character and you have use for it. You should pay for it. If it means something to you, pay for it. If you're not going to pay, I'm not going to do it, because if I'm Betsy Palmer, I'm at that point, I'm like, all right, what's this going to do for me?
If I'm not Betsy Palmer?
I might be. If it's not going to reward me financially, okay, what's it going to do for me? I'm now 30 years older and I'm appearing in another slasher Jason movie, and you're not going to break the bank to get me there. I don't see the upside.
Okay. Very good. We have mentioned already a little bit of the controversy with Kane Hodder reprising his role as Jason Voorhees. New Line, thinking that Freddy vs. Jason needed a fresh start, chose a different actor to play Jason. Sean Cunningham disagreed with their decision, believing that Kane Hodder, who had played Jason in the previous 4 films, was the best choice for the role. Although Hodder did receive a script for Freddy vs. Jason and met with director Ronny Yu and New Line executives, Yu and Matthew Barry, I don't know who that is, felt that the role should be recast to fit Yu's image of Jason. Hodder said that New Line did not give him a reason for the recasting. According to Yu, however, they wanted a taller, slower, and more deliberate Jason. The role went to Ken Kersinger, a Canadian stuntman who had worked on Jason Takes Manhattan. Yu said that Kersinger was hired because he was taller than Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger. They wanted a real, when the two characters were face-to-face, a real sort of giant, smaller guy having Jason dwarf Freddy. Kersinger believed that his experience on Part 8, doubling for Hodder in 2 scenes, and his height helped him land the part. New Line did not cast Kersinger until they saw him on film, which his first scene was Jason walking down Elm Street. Kind of a big, kind of a bold move in the Friday deal. What do you think?
Sounds to me like they got the other guy who probably cost half as much. What their reasoning makes less than no sense.
I think Kane Hodder was an older guy by then, and I get it, but they also tried, which was a little bit of a controversy in the Jason circles. They wanted this whole eye thing with a guy who was able to emote, and they kind of play Jason as a sympathetic in certain parts of the film, which is a little bit controversial in the Jason camp of fans. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, Kersinger doubled. He did have some, he has doubled as Jason in the Manhattan movie, but I don't know. I see your point. I guess, a lot of Jason fans were upset about it, but I didn't feel the sting that much. I don't know.
Well, I didn't feel a sting. I think it's just ridiculous because
I'm just conversing.
No, the reason is because I didn't know it wasn't Kane Hodder until you just told me.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't
I didn't
know
that? No, I didn't know that because to me, Jason is whoever I'm looking at. I'm not looking at. I'm not. Like, Ronny Yu is sitting there talking like he's making a fucking sequel to The Godfather. Like, my image of Jason with the eyes.
But shouldn't he take it seriously?
Probably. Yeah, of course he should.
Okay.
I'm just saying that when you have the guy who has played the role, and it's like, all right, we're making The Godfather Redux, and we're bringing back Al Pacino, but fuck Robert De Niro.
You're giving a very broad comparison, and wouldn't you want, even if it was Seagal wouldn't you want a serious director who's trying to mold it into the best creative vision as possible?
Absolutely, and I can't argue with that. But at the same time,
wouldn't you say that sweat the small stuff? That could be the difference between a generic slasher and maybe something of quality.
You know what? You bring up a good point. And all right, so here's my take then. I appreciate what the director was trying to do, because yes, you're right. That's what you need. You need that kind of sort of meticulousness. However, I just disagree with the vision.
If I said to you before this podcast, Kane Hodder, would you know that he was the Jason guy?
I would have assumed, because...
No, if I said to you, hey, Groo, Kane Hodder, would you be like,
yes,
that's
very familiar with Kane Hodder as Jason, yeah.
All right, Groo, the casting, Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, Ken Kersinger, Jason Voorhees, Monica Keena, Laurie Campbell, Jason Ritter, Will Collins, Rowlands, Kelly Rowland as Keel Waterston, Catherine Isabel as Gibb, Brandon Fletcher, Mark Davis, Christopher Rodriguez Marquette as Charlie Lindemann, and Tom Butler as Dr. Campbell, Lachlan Monroe, Deputy Scott Stubbs, Groo, Robert Englund, the very beautiful Kelly Rowland of Destiny's Child fame, plus a bunch of good-looking unknowns. Groo, is this typical casting playbook horror 101? Or do you feel something differently about the cast of Freddy vs. Jason?
It's kind of the way it was going back then. I think they could have done a little bit better, although Jason Ritter ended up becoming a pretty well-known and talented actor, but I think at the time he was basically just known as John Ritter's son. I think they with the Destiny's Child with Kelly Rowland, I think that's a little bit of stunt casting. Kind of reminded me of Busta Rhymes in the Halloween movie.
Okay.
I think with this they could have stepped it up a notch and spent a little money and gotten some familiar character actors who could have helped sell the been true supporting players, because me going into this movie, I'm thinking that it's really Freddy versus Jason and everybody else are just kind of spectators, and I'd be interested to see that kind of thing. So what they cast were, the maybe a little above typical, teenage slasher kids. I would have liked a little bit more than that.
I think that they did horror, still did the horror casting 101, which is you got your leads and let's surround them with young, very sexy girls, handsome guys, because they're going to still play off of the whole horror and sexuality seem to have a long history when it comes to slasher films.
I love that.
I have a long history with Coke Zero in the bathroom. Can we take a quick pause while I go urinate?
We will take a pee break. So as we pull over to the Fort Pierce rest area, please enjoy Just a Little Light from the 1989 Built to Last album. This is the great... No, I'm not. Just kidding. We'll be right back.
All right, Freddy vs. Jason runtime, 1 hour, 38 minutes. Real quick, just the runtime. Did you feel that runtime? Did it feel kind of right? Did it go a little long, go a little short? What did you think of the overall?
That's a good runtime for a decent budgeted horror movie.
Yeah, I thought it was.
When you see movies that are coming in at like 82, 83 minutes, that means they're like trying to stretch it out.
Don't got a lot.
Right, because that's including credits.
Right.
So 138, that there's that there's some substance there. That's what that means to me. So that's a healthy running time.
All right, we know Freddy vs. Jason is rated R for gruesome images, drug use, strong horror, violence, language, sexuality, strong gore. The plot synopsis for Freddy vs. Jason. It's been nearly 10 years since Freddy Krueger terrorized people in their dreams, and the town folk want to keep him erased from their memory. Freddy still has one more plan on getting back to Elm Street. He resurrects... Hold on. Sorry, everybody.
He's got it. Here, I'll do it. You talk, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah. He resurrects Jason Voorhees and sends him off.
Zip up. No, I'm trying to plug in his computer.
Hold on.
I got it. All right, you do it. Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Freddy resurrects Jason Voorhees and sends him off to a kill. The more bodies which fall to the ground, the stronger Freddy becomes. This is until Freddy realizes that Jason isn't going to step aside easily and must be taking down himself. All right, you want to try this new segment?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. All right. Groo, it's time for a new Nothing Worthwhile segment. It's Nothing Worthwhile presents The Money Shot.
Nothing Worthwhile presents...
dropping fucking loads.
The Money Shot.
Groo, the Nothing Worthwhile's The Money Shot is brought to you by no one. That's right, no one wants to sponsor this segment. Too dicey. Groo, what do we mean by The Money Shot? Despite its salacious title, The Money Shot in this instance means our favorite, most pivotal, maybe most winning scene as a viewer and a critic. So, Andrew, looking back before we kind of go to the final... Yeah, because I didn't type in my notes on this one, so I'm going to go off of the top of my head. I'll give you mine.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if it's the winning, but I think the fun, the one scene that kind of captures the spirit, I would say, was probably the rave when Jason comes in and he's lit up like a Christmas tree and he's just killing everybody. I thought that was probably the most fun, most impactful scene that I I took away from the movie. I don't know. Am I making any sense there?
Yeah, that was fun. I happen to like...
What was your money shot for Freddy vs. Jason? Seriously.
The money shot...
What scene did you go, that's a little bit better than everything else?
The flashback to Jason's Camp Crystal Lake.
Did you think they did a good job fleshing that out? So
yes,
did
I really, as compared to how they'd done it in the past.
Okay.
So that to me, and that was near the beginning, and that to me that kick-started. I was like, okay, I like where they're going with this. So that I'm going to pick that as the money shot for Freddy vs. Jason.
Okay. You want to queue up? You want to do some fun facts?
I would love to do some fun facts.
All right, let's hit it again.
Oh, sorry.
Nothing Worthwhile presents Fun Facts.
All right, Andrew, some fun facts for Freddy vs. Jason. This is the final film in which Robert Englund plays the role of Freddy Krueger.
I think that might not turn out to be true. I've heard rumblings that they're trying to get him to do one more.
How old do you think Robert Englund is today?
He's got to be early 70s or late 60s. But hey, I mean, when you're under all that makeup, I mean, they're talking about Michael Keaton doing another Beetlejuice. I mean, he's around the same age. So you never know. But yes, as of now, this is the last time Englund played the part.
According to Robert Englund, his Freddy makeup was so thick that he couldn't tell how hot it was from the fires during filming. When he had to have his makeup removed, it bonded to his face. All right. Following its release, Monica Keena and Catherine Isabel had rather choice words about the film, with Keena in particular saying she thought the screenplay was terrible and that she only really signed on for the money and to raise her profile. Isabel's problems were mostly to do with the fact that she didn't get along with Ronny Yu, who tried to force her to do a nude scene, even though she had specifically requested a no nudity clause when she signed on for the film.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, I think that's kind of sour grapes by the actresses.
Yeah, I mean...
The nudity thing I get, but to kind of bash the film after you did it and saying, I only did it to just raise my profile, I think that's kind of BS.
Absolutely. And, I mean, nudity is a part of storytelling. And
really,
it is. You know that. I say.
I love it.
So just that it does sound sour. Definitely sour grapes.
Standing at 6'5", Ken Kersinger is the tallest actor to date to play Jason Voorhees. Okay. The lake at Camp Crystal Lake.
Wait a minute.
Yagada Mugu Mugu.
6'5"?
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, he looked like every other Jason.
You think so?
Yes. You don't think so?
I thought he did look a little taller and thinner, a little more wiry than the Kane Hodder.
Hitting the gym, maybe?
I don't know.
Laying off the carbs?
Maybe. Yes. He went on keto before the filming.
Ozempic.
The lake at Camp Crystal Lake was also being used to film the final scenes for X2, X-Men United.
Wow.
At the same time this movie was being filmed, the two film casts even stayed at the same hotel. Bryan Singer got to appear on set during Jason's first kill to see Jason's costume and commented, they got the makeup right.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. Bryan Singer, Young Boys Beware.
Wait, Bryan Singer is the Usual Suspects guy.
Wasn't he the disgraced director?
Yeah, he was like screwing around with like a teenage kid or something.
Yeah, I guess you said it.
But I don't think. I think he's kind of like blackballed. But I don't think he's like in jail or anything.
You're probably right, but I mean,
all these guys are crazy.
I'm not wearing Speedos next to him.
So why are you wearing now?
Exactly. I feel comfortable here. I feel free and confident. Yes, this was the first Freddy movie not to be filmed in the United States, and the filmmakers had to search for a new house that would resemble the famous Freddy Krueger Elm Street house from the first 7 Nightmare films.
So where did they film it?
Oh,
Probably Canada, maybe?
You're going to bust my chops on that one? I don't know.
That's a bummer. Spend the fucking money. You've got two of the biggest studios in the world, Paramount and New Line. That's Austin Powers, that plus Paramount's Indiana Jones and all these things. They print money, and they're not going to pony up a couple extra million to film. Oh God.
Well, I do know that this was the largest budgeted Friday Nightmare deal. You could throw a guess at it later, but
yeah.
But I hear what you're saying.
That might change my guess.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but all right.
Yeah, that house was just sold by Wenco Realty. It's in an inspection phase right now.
The closing is on Friday.
Yeah, yes, it's going to continue to. While several journalists and television hosts have tried to embarrass Kelly Rowland over her role in the film, she has always responded by saying that the film was a hit, she enjoyed making it, and therefore she has nothing to be ashamed about.
Good for her. I love it when people look, I hate it when people like try to distance themselves from some of the mediocre stuff they do in the beginning of their career as opposed to what they do later on. Like embrace it. Like say, yeah, that was amazing. That was, it was incredible. Like, that's cool. I'm glad that she does that.
Yeah, me too. That's the right thing to say.
Yes.
A sequel was planned but never materialized. Wildstorm published a 6-issue comic series in late 2007 and early 2008. This added the Evil Dead's Ash Williams to the mix. It was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. Would Andrew Gutierrez have any interest in seeing that in the theater?
No, I wouldn't have been up for that. I would have been up for a Freddy versus Jason sequel, definitely. But that's just like throwing too much into the mix. That's like you don't do shrimp, lobster, and octopus.
Right, it's surf and turf. It's
a
not
little
surf,
too
turf.
much. It's a little too much.
It's not surf, turf, and chicken.
Exactly.
And poultry.
And besides, I would actually, if you're asking me if they have to pull in another one, I would go with the guy with Pinhead from Hellraiser before I would Ash from Evil Dead. I think they have more in common.
Did you see the new Pinhead Hulu movie?
No.
Yeah,
I've only seen one Hellraiser movie, and I kind of liked it, but that's the only reason I could give the nod to Pinhead over. Or you know who I would have loved? Leatherface. That would have been fun.
That would have been cool.
Texas Chainsaw. You do that, then there you got my money.
I think Pinhead or Ash would have, because both those characters now are sort of rooted in supernatural, meaning Jason and Freddy. Even Jason, he's positioned as he can never die.
Yeah,
right?
Well, obviously.
Right. You had asked about some early drafts of the script. 2 twists were considered that would have connected the past of Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. One considered twist was Freddy either raped or had consensual sexual encounter with Jason's mother, and as a result had unknowingly fathered Jason. Another twist was Freddy had worked at Camp Crystal Lake in the past and had either molested Jason as a child or was somehow connected to his drowning, being a child murderer, a potential sexual offender, thus giving Jason motivation to track down and kill Freddy. Both ideas grew or eventually dropped as producers felt they were too contrived and too dark for the film.
Bullshit. Both of those ideas are phenomenal.
Really?
I think.
You don't think they're too dark?
I think
they're kind of heavy, dude. They're kind of heavy.
The movie that they eventually made, yes, it's too dark for that. Meaning that I don't want to give anything away about.
No. But you think? I'm sorry to interrupt. I want to clarify.
Go ahead.
You think what I just read? You think that the Friday the 13th we viewed is darker than what those things were? Okay.
No,
okay.
The opposite.
Okay.
I think what you just told me about those two ideas is too dark for the type of movie they eventually made. So the movie they eventually made was a novelty movie. Fun to watch,
horror,
fun to see,
but popcorny.
Yeah, not we're not giving it anything. It's not.
No.
It's not particularly frightening. Okay.
Okay, fine.
It's really not.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it's not good. But if the director, Ronny Yu, like who it seemed like was really creatively whatever, I would think they'd want to, or maybe that would have made it into a true horror movie. That interests me on that level.
Okay,
and it would be less campy. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that I didn't like what I saw. I'm just saying you tell me that, and I'm interested in that because, yes, that lends some... If we're talking wrestling storylines, that gives it direct heat.
Can't disagree. I think it's still a tough sell with the darkness.
Absolutely.
But I can't disagree. That
probably would have cut its box office in half.
I don't know about that, but I think that's a tough sell even back then. But I agree with Andrew. Suddenly it goes from a sort of popcorny, campy slasher fun to like a horror movie with some serious roots.
Right. That's why I said bullshit to when you said they said it was contrived. It's the opposite. It makes sense.
Okay.
Like, don't you agree? Like, it's the opposite of contrived.
I think there's some other ones that were pitched that I might go over on fun facts.
Okay.
According to director Ronny Yu, the special effects team used over 300 gallons of fake blood for this movie. It's like SNL though. It's like like limbs spewing blood, for comical effect almost.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And kind of like I was hoping that they would up their game on those kinds of things. Like maybe I was hoping they would take it more seriously than they did.
All right. Hold those thoughts.
Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Around 13 minutes, we have the Jason's first kill, the bed kill, which was originally rejected by New Line Cinema studio executives, but screenwriters Mark Swift and Damian Shannon fought hard for filming it. They acted it out on the floor to convince director Ronny Yu. He liked the idea. The scene was filmed, and it turned out to be one of the biggest reactions of the audience during the test screening. The bed folding onto the guy.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Different.
Yeah, different. That's where you get creative. Like that's... Like
I would have been like, kill, 9.5, blood, 9.2, total score, 9.7.
Yeah, but you know what that is? That's like when you don't have very interesting characters, you've got to come up with interesting set pieces.
Okay, but still, I mean, you got to deliver the kills in a Jason Freddy horror film.
But if the person who was being killed held more weight to the story... Wait.
What do you want? You want Jason and Freddy to sit at a diner and be like, we finally meet. I got to take you down, Jason.
I got to admit.
Hoorah! What are we talking about here?
Hey now. I got to admit, I was kind of hoping for something in that general direction.
God, I love you. I love your fandom. I love it. Another early version of the script group called for the beginning of the film to take place in medieval times, while another called for the beginning to start at Camp Crystal Lake with Jason getting arrested. Another script was to have the beginning of the film take place on the eve of the millennium. Fun facts.
All right, so...
Now, medieval could have been something cool, because you're talking about lore and you're talking about... Like at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, you're sort of supposing that he's going to hell, and maybe Freddy is a soldier of the devil, perhaps, and dragging him under. So I don't know. I thought maybe that could have been something with horror.
Yes, but not as the main story.
Right. Maybe like starts in medieval times. You could see the lore of the character.
Yeah, like a Highlander kind of thing.
Or, you could see maybe an evil spell that...
Yes, I like that. Yeah, but not... like you show their past. What linked them from before that brings us to where we are now. Yeah, definitely.
The kids go to Weston Hills to look for the experimental drug Hypnosil.
Ooh.
Hypnosil was the drug that... Neil Gordon, Craig Wasson discovered was being taken by Nancy Thompson, Heather Langenkamp, when they first met on A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Nancy was the one who suggested that Weston Hills prescribe Hypnosil to the patients, Hypnosil being a big part of the plot for Freddy vs. Jason. He's looking at me like... yeah.
Well, I do like the callback.
Okay.
I always like it when they do that, and then they make it make sense.
I want to take Hypnosil. So you have no dreams. I just go to bed and.
That would solve their problem.
Groo, in the posters for this movie, Freddy's glove is on the wrong hand, on his left hand when it should be on his right hand. Robert Englund himself pointed it out on the DVD commentary, but there's no way to fix this, and the posters had already been printed and shipped. I mean, is there a wrong hand, right hand?
Well, I mean,
it's like kind of like an earring for gay, not gay. Well, I don't know.
No, I think if you look at the, it's
come on,
not
work
something.
With me. I mean, come on.
Well, you phrased it as a question.
I don't.
Well, I think it's if you look at it's like Michael Jackson. There's only I don't know.
I don't know if it's on his left hand. Does that mean something about sexuality?
Well, no. If it's, I would say that if you have 6 movies where the thing appears on one hand. To do the 7th one and screw that up, but they did. But I don't think in the movie it's on the wrong hand. It's just they probably printed the thing backwards.
I'm just trying to look comedy effect here. I thought it was the earring. Okay. Anyway, now here,
because it's on the left hand, meaning that he's catching, not pitching.
So. Right. You had asked about Ken Kersinger. Behind the scenes, Ken Kersinger stated that he portrayed Jason as a psycho savant, as he lost his mom early, and he's been living out in the woods by the lake by himself with no guidance because he's just sort of falling out of the mandate by killing all the kids. And there are definitely scenes where they want you to feel sympathy or empathy for Jason. So hearing that, does that give a little more a little more forgiving for the Ken Kersinger, Kane Hodder deal with Jason?
I don't see any reason why Kane Hodder couldn't have done that.
Did you think at least in this portrayal of Jason was a little bit more nuanced than prior Friday films, or you didn't really see any difference?
And it's interesting you asked that because it just hit me that really it isn't, and it probably should have been. It really wasn't.
Okay.
I didn't see. I
definitely remember seeing it and thinking they were trying to play Jason a little more. They kept on showing his eyes, trying to show emotion through his eyes, or that one eye that sticks through the hockey mask, and definitely played him for a little bit more sympathy. Now, listen, a lot of people didn't like it. He's a stone cold killer. It's the same thing when we talk about Alien vs. Predator, as the Predator makes friends with the human. I mean, it's a ruthless killer. So I think in the Jason Freddy circles that I have read, I don't know if it's in my notes, but I know I've read on websites there was some criticism that you're trying to almost, have us feel sorry for Jason, although his origin is somewhat tragic.
Yeah, but I don't understand why people have a problem with that. Half the time they root for Jason because the kids he's killing are so stupid. Like that's part of the novelty of these kinds of movies. Like a lot of people in Halloween cheer for Michael Myers. True. They cheer for the kill,
right,
So that's a silly thing for them to be bothered by. But again, it didn't. I see what you're saying, and it didn't do it. It didn't do it for me.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't do what you're describing for me. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. I keep saying that.
Gotcha.
But it didn't do what you're describing.
One early draft of the script, Jason Voorhees had been captured and restrained by authorities. He would spend much of his film on trial for his countless murders. His defense lawyer would have been the lead character. I think this would have been a big-time fail. I don't know. Does that interest you at all?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, because it's different. It's like
how can you have a Freddy Jason film and not have Jason as a main guy?
What do you mean?
He's on trial the whole time, and they're really focusing in on the attorney. That's what.
I thought I misheard you. Okay, no, I don't. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
that reminds me of Halloween Kills. Or Halloween,
yeah, the last one.
Even though I liked it,
terrible.
But everybody else seems to hate it because Michael Myers was hardly a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, you're describing the same thing. Me, I liked what they did with it, but that's a whole.
You know what? Hearing your thing, to me it sounds almost like what you said about the Rambo film. I mean that Halloween movie might have been a decent movie. A killer mentoring a young killer, that could interest me, but not for
right.
For
yeah,
Halloween.
I can totally see that.
All right, let's see here. You talked about the budget. New Line Cinema's advertising budget for this movie surpassed the marketing campaigns for all 10 prior Friday the 13th Jason films combined.
Wow. That's saying something, because they used to market the hell out of these movies.
The opening of the film uses plenty of flashback footage from previous Nightmare films, but none from the Friday the 13th films. That is because Groo and New Line Cinema did not have the legal rights to use flashback footage from previous films, the rights of which were still owned by Paramount Pictures.
That doesn't make sense. They're using a character. And both companies, I think, are credited, no?
I don't know. Call
that doesn't make it doesn't make sense that they'd be able to. I don't know. I guess maybe New Line was the main company behind.
Do me a favor, call Harvey, see what he says.
I will.
Another early script Groo revolved around a cult of Freddy worshipping teens called Fredheads, who sought to resurrect Freddy through a series of sacrifices. Jason will be brought back to life through a sacrifice in order to stop Freddy and the cult. I'm all in on this one.
I'm glad.
I'm all motherfucking in.
I'm like, yes. Now you're talking.
That would have been
awesome.
Been
sick.
Oh my God, I'm touching myself.
Yes,
that would have been so good.
There you go. They played it safe.
Yeah, according to the book Slash of the Titans: The Road to Freddy vs. Jason, the crossover sequel officially had 16 screenwriters across 10 different versions of the story. This was per the Writers Guild arbitration panel findings. Unofficially, the movies had many more unsolicited treatments in draft, both internally and externally. We talked about it before. 16 different screenwriters credited, and perhaps movie lore has others. Any final thoughts? You're a movie guy.
Well, 16 credited screenwriters is a boatload, okay? But to have a movie say that they had 20 different people work on the script, that's normal. You know, you still, usually there's only one or two or maybe three people credited for it. But to literally have 20 people with credit on the screen for a script, that means that there were way too many cooks in the kitchen.
All right, Groo, let's listen to this one. And about 1 hour and 19 minutes in, screenwriters Mark Swift and Damian Shannon were disturbed by the homophobic insult Kelly Rowland's character directs at Freddy Krueger. I got the scene. What do you think?
Okay.
Tell me something. What kind of faggot runs around in a Christmas sweater?
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
All right. Now the thing is that the thing that bothers me here, just as I'm reading this, is they're insinuating. Okay, both writers pointed out in interviews that this was not something they had written in their script. So did Kelly Rowland go rogue? I mean,
if either they're throwing her under the bus or they're telling the truth.
Okay. I mean, okay. 2003. I know I saw this film. I was 23. Obviously, it didn't move me back then, but I'm obviously
it wouldn't
today,
move me now.
You couldn't say that now in today's film. You couldn't in a major release use the F-bomb. That's the F slur.
It's how it's used. I mean, she's calling everything is context these days.
Understood, but
right. So she's all right. I guess maybe that one because she's insinuating. I don't know. It's dangerous waters here.
All right.
I'm bothered. I'm bothered that people are bothered by somebody hurling an insult at
a
pedophilic mass murderer. But at the same time, I think the problem is that the word itself is used as an insult, and that's the problem that people have with it. So I can see that, but either way, you're right. That's not happening today. And yeah, sounds like it depends I don't know. I don't know who to believe. What does Kelly Rowland say?
I don't know, and that's the thing I would like to find out.
Someone would hurl that accusation at her and she wouldn't respond?
We'd have to look it up afterwards.
All right. It's a he said, she said thing.
This is the only Freddy Krueger movie, Groo, that doesn't have the word nightmare in the title.
And who's dead? The final nightmare. Yeah, you're right. There you go. Look at that.
Around 1 hour and 11 minutes in Laurie's dream, kids are teasing a young Jason, and they place it.
Wait, let me go back.
Oh, God.
Wait, no. Is it the only Friday the 13th movie that doesn't have Friday in the title?
I don't know. I don't have that.
Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Listen, we've read...
Jason X doesn't have Friday.
I've run 50 fun facts. Can we move on? I got a slice of pizza waiting for me. Come on.
Oh, sorry.
At or around 1 hour and 11 minutes in Laurie's dream, kids are teasing a young Jason, and they place a burlap sack on his head. This is a callback to the burlap sack Jason wore in Friday the 13th, Part 2. Let's see. All right, and then it says here, not counting flashbacks, Freddy only kills one person in this film. I think I got two things connected, but I just thought that was kind of cool because I always loved, as a kid, we associate the hockey mask with Jason, but he started off with a burlap sack around his head.
Well, yeah, in the first movie, he wasn't even in it.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think the hockey mask appeared till like Part 3. From my recollection.
I think midway Part 2.
Midway Part 2?
Let me see. Hold on. Friday movie, Jason wears...
There's got to be... they're not done making these movies. When was the last one of either?
Oh, you're right. It says here,
what does it say?
Jason gets his mask, Friday the 13th, in Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. According to Sideshow.com, Jason finally got his signature mask. Interesting.
Yeah, that's what
Good for you,
that's
Groo.
what I thought.
Let's see here. Body count, 24.
So Jason 23, Freddy 1.
Maybe. At 1 hour and 5 minutes, when Jason is impaled on his own machete, I remember this scene. Freddy uses some iron plates to push the machete deeper. The last 3 plates that fly through the air form the New Line Cinema logo.
I remember that, yeah. See, that tells us that they're not taking themselves too seriously.
Jason walks out of the water at the very end of the movie. That's supposed to be a callback to Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
Freddy winks. Many people believe this to be a special effect, but it wasn't. Robert Englund winked at the camera.
Yeah, I actually like the ending.
Scary fun. That's movie fun facts for you. All right. Groo,
that's awful.
You're always pretty good with this. You want to guess the budget to Freddy versus Jason?
Yes. I would have said, I changed my mind since what you said. I would have said, because it looked like they spent some money, but you're telling me that they had to film somewhere else so I was going to say $50 million, because at this time they were putting money into these big budget company studio films. But I'm going to cut it back, and I'm going to say it was probably around 30 mil, about 30 million.
You get this right every single time on the button. Are you cheating?
That's on the button?
30 million.
Wow. Okay. And that's not a lot for a movie like this.
I would tend to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to give
even in 2003.
You want to give a gander to total box office, domestic, international, the total gross of this movie.
Yeah, this was a hit. I remember people were seeing this movie. It was definitely, and they were talking sequel and they still talk sequel. I guess they just couldn't get it together, but I don't think it did much outside of the United States. But I remember it being big here. I'm going to say I definitely broke 100. I'm going to say like 120 mil.
You're 114. Perfect.
114. Okay.
Oh, stop it.
What?
I feel like there's going to be a scandal in a couple of years with nothing with Andrew Goofius.
No, you got to remember, I was such a weirdo. I used to
Did you know Thurman Munson batted .281 in 1978?
I'm like that with statistics, like baseball statistics. I could tell you every year that Keith Hernandez played for the Mets, how many home runs he hit, how many his batting average, and I used to look at the Newsday star ratings for these movies. I remember reading the reviews. I remember looking at the box office. I used to pay attention to this stuff because I was interested in going into that business, and I sort of did for a while. So that's kind of why, that can explain why I have a pretty decent grasp of some of these things.
All right, Groo. Then here, let's just do this real quick. Gary Carter is on your wall.
Yes.
What was? Let me see here. I have it right here now. What season? What was his highest season home run? What was the most home runs he hit in a single season?
32. 1985 with the Mets.
Fucker got it right.
32,
right.
80,
yeah.
Was it 85?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. He's good, folks.
Yeah.
Groo, Freddy vs. Jason was number 1 August 15th, 2003, and it was number 1 again for the second week, August 22, 2003. Then it dropped some 64% to just to number 6 in the third week. So the movie had a little bit of legs. Groo, what did the critics have to say about Freddy vs. Jason? You want to do a tomato meter? You want to give a gander?
Yeah, I'm guessing the critics. I remember the critics ripped it apart, but not the usual not in the usual slasher way. So I'm going to say like a usual like Friday the 13th would probably get like a 10 to 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm going to say this one's probably somewhere in like the 30 to 35% critical tomato meter.
Yeah, 42%.
Wow.
Based on 162 critic reviews and a comparison, our last film, Out for Justice, with Big Stevie, scored just 23%. So,
idiots.
What about, you want to give a gander, Rotten Tomatoes audience score?
I remember the audience not liking this as much as some others. So I'm going to say, what is it? Is it like letters?
No, it's the same thing, 0 to 100%.
Well, it's going to be higher than 40. So I think I'm going to say I'll just play it safe and go 50%.
You stop it.
What?
You hit it right on the head.
50%?
50%.
Wow.
By comparison, Out for Justice scored 53%.
Hey, Stevie wins one. All right.
All right, Groo. Kim Newman of Empire Magazine said it's completely daft, and the one-liners are now just plain cheesy, but there's a good deal of gore to keep the faithful amused, if not completely happy. Tom Long, Detroit News. It's bloody, it's loud, it's gratuitous, and it's ridiculous. Sweet. Jack Matthews, New York Daily News. Though a stickler might ask what's at stake in a fight to the death between two guys who are already dead, the hardcore fans aren't likely to be disappointed. Not quite true, Jack. Let's see here. Peter Howell of the Toronto Star. Only masochists need contemplate laying down good money on this atrocity. That's a bit strong. Merritt Ingram of the Austin Chronicle. Horror connoisseurs should consider this one a draw. And finally, Sarah Michelle Fetters of MovieFreak.com. Anyone going to see this movie isn't going to care an iota about the acting or intelligence of the characters, and they really aren't going to give a flying twat if the art of cinema is raised to any level outside of the bar lofting above the lower sewer. All right, Groo. Groo, you hit that vape pen. I prefer melatonin.
Hey.
So we're going to stay away from the...
I did no such thing.
We're going to stay away from the nightmare theme. We're going to go with the Jason-themed 0 to 4 machete scale. On a scale of 0 to 4 machetes. What do you give Freddy versus Jason?
Well, I saw this movie. I think I saw it on the first day when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. And I saw it for the second time this morning, and I really enjoyed it. However, I will say that in retrospect and thinking about it after seeing it this morning, I realized it's not the movie that I hoped it would be or wanted it to be. Still fun, but there's very little difference between this movie and either of the 20 predecessors. It's a standard. It takes a great idea and turns it into a standard slasher flick. Still fun, still gory, still England is great, and it's fun for fans, but it could have been so much more. And my biggest pet peeve, is that it's really not Freddy versus Jason. It's like that for maybe 15 minutes. It's mostly Freddy and Jason killing people. It's not really it's not like I was hoping for the entire movie to be centered around that.
Right.
It wasn't that. Like, but the whole idea of
Freddy recruits Jason, brings him back, but then Jason is uncontrollable. Jason's killing and taking the shine from Freddy, and then so Freddy's got to get Jason under control.
Yeah, I would have been more interested in something like the cult thing you were talking about, or what was
like
one
the
of the other ones?
One,
or one of the other ones where
maybe interweaving the two lore with the child, molestation.
Yes, some kind of stakes to make it into a true horror movie. They could have, and they chose to play it safe. And they made the right decision because that's why it was a hit. Like I said, I think the budget would have been, I think the box office would have been half as much if they went with one of those other more, daring ideas. So they played it safe, a little too safe, but still enjoyable. 2.5 machetes for me.
Okay. Andrew, what I liked about Freddy vs. Jason, I liked the Jason flashbacks. I did like Ken Kersinger playing Jason. And the fighting sequences, I thought were fun, almost martial art style through Ronny Yu's direction. What I didn't like about this movie, it's so completely overacted. I mean, people screaming, just screaming. Self-referential tone. They kind of did the irony thing based a little bit like Scream. Now Jason's afraid of water. He jumps out of water in the beginning at the end of the last Friday movie. Yeah. They never hinted about that. I thought, some of the plot points were illogical.
Well, he was afraid of water because that's how he died.
I understand, but they never hinted at that ever.
Yeah.
And then Elm Street is basically a short drive from Camp Crystal Lake.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. Funny, I listened to Andrew's...
they would use Don's delivery if they were sending their bags to camp.
Maybe they were, what is that, Middle Earth? Or what was Godzilla and Kong? Anyway, listen, Andrew, when you take two of the biggest horror movie icons and put them together on the big screen, it needs to feel special. It needs to feel like an event, and here it is a fail.
Yeah, it didn't feel special.
It's not a major fail, but I left the theater in 2003, and watching it back in 2023... it felt like another sequel to a laborious franchise.
Yeah.
Now, the actual movie is a fun one. It's got some kitschy dialogue. It's got some cool kills. But it fails to live up to the hype worthy of a Jason versus Freddy movie. 2.5 machetes. Good. Good. A slice below great.
There you go.
All right.
A slice, a dice, a hack below greatness.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, is this the first time we've ever, completely on par? With our
sometimes we're close, but yeah, we were the same score, I think, for the first time.
Nice.
All right, Groo, give us one thing you're watching this week.
All right, one thing I'm watching this week. Moody, you're a fan of documentaries. I discovered it's two things I'm watching this week because there are two music documentaries that I stumbled upon. One is okay, and it's called The Day the Music Died. It's about the writing of American Pie. It's on Paramount Plus, but it's more about the life of Don McLean and what the song's about. It's good, but it's not great. The great one is what I stumbled upon. I forgot the streaming service already, but I'll tell you later. It's a 4-part documentary called My Life as a Rolling Stone. And each episode is from the perspective of each band member. I've watched Mick Jagger and Charlie Watts so far, and it is an excellent sort of window into arguably the greatest rock and roll band in history. Not an opinion, but sort of a fact. And it's a very well done documentary, and I'm going to watch, as soon as I can, I'm going to watch the Ronnie Wood and Keith Richards ones. I'm looking forward to Keith Richards. But really good. Have you heard of it?
No, I have not. But, thinking about you talking about it, there were some scenes in Freddy vs. Jason that were shot similar to Billy Joel live at Yankee Stadium.
I remember that.
That frenetic,
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That's a touch of a button. It's a filter.
Okay,
that's what it is. Yeah, I mean it's cheap, is what it is.
Listen, nothing ever beats in a musical documentary. The Eagles with give me the two guys,
Don Felder and Glenn Frey.
And what do they say?
I can't wait to kick your fucking ass. 2 more songs in your mind, you bitch.
That's it. All musical documentaries ended after that one.
But I think you would like this one.
All right,
it's really interesting. It's really well done.
Yeah,
my wife is a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, I got nothing. I've been watching.
Really?
Yeah, I got. I'm stuck.
That's true.
I watch. I watch Dateline with Gary. I do like Dateline. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Groo, when Groo and I return back to the mothership, Nothing Worthwhile goes back to its classic album series. And it's a great pick that fans of the show may be surprised at. Groo and I will break down and review Hysteria, the 4th studio album by Def Leppard, released on August 3rd, 1987. It's Def Leppard's.
I wanna touch you too much, baby.
It's Def Leppard's best-selling album to date. Well, Andrew already took the lead. Groo, what do you think? Hysteria.
Looking forward to it. I believe. I think when I told you, I think I was wrong. I saw Def Leppard once. I thought it was on this tour, but it wasn't. It was on the next album tour. But this is the album that I discovered Def Leppard with. Animal and Armageddon and Love Bites, a great song. Pour Some Sugar on Me, obviously. So this is a great album. I think it's a pivotal album in the Def Leppard story, and we'll get into that when we discuss it. So definitely look. And there's a reissue or like a re-recording coming out, I think. So it's timely. So Hysteria, Def Leppard. Looking forward to it.
All right, Groo, in 1 month's time, we'll return back to Van Dammit. We're going to do one final crossover, one final time. For now, it's 2004. It's 2 of the greatest sci-fi horror monsters, and they're finally squaring off. It's Alien versus Predator. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Groo?
Whoever wins, we lose.
That's good.
Yeah, it is a great tagline. I'll say that. I haven't seen this movie now we're doing the original one.
Yes, the first
right.
AVP.
Okay, I haven't seen this in a long time, and I remember very little about it, so I'm actually looking forward to revisiting.
Yeah, maybe we'll grab Seiko. He's a big Alien guy. Maybe we'll bring him on and see.
Yeah, Seiko.
We'll verbally joust with him. So
let's hug that cactus.
Yes. All right, Groo, before we leave, I just would like to just make note that we've not been on for quite a while, and unfortunately on April 16th, my mom, Sheryl Moody-Linker, passed away. That's why I'm here in Florida, and we're selling the house and getting all the things taken care of, and I just wanted to dedicate this podcast to her memory. She was a typical mom, a big fan of anything that I did, and most of the things I did was this guy sitting across the table from me. She pretty gave up all hope of me doing anything constructive, and her life was podcasts, concerts, and wrestling shows and things like that. And like a typical mom, she was a big fan. And so, Mom, I love you. I'm going to miss you. For sure, and we also recognize that other folks in the Nothing Worthwhile extended universe, everybody's going through some stuff, some tragedy. So we wish everybody well, and that's it for now.
Yeah, well, I have great memories of Sheryl Moody-Linker from many years. So God bless to you, and we have our extended Nothing Worthwhile family. Some people suffered a very, very horrible tragedy, so we send our love and thoughts out to them. They know who they are. Look, we are. Life goes on, and we are moving forward. It's great to have you here. Circumstances are circumstances, but everything happens, and something good can follow that proves that. So, that was very, I don't know where to go. I don't know.
All right, well, we're going to get out of here.
It's been a rough month.
So, yeah, it sure has.
But we're looking forward. We got Backlash tonight. We're going to have a nice old school night tonight, and we'll be all right.
We'll be fine.
We'll be okay.
We'll be fine. All right, Groo, we're going to say to close it out, no retreat!
And no surrender.
All right. Love you, Ma.
Everybody was kung fu